Okay, let's talk about AI. You hear that term everywhere, right? But it's not some far-off futuristic thing. It's actually a huge part of your life right now. From your TikTok feed to the tools that check your grammar, it's kind of everywhere. So what is it really? How does it work? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through all the hype and get right to the fundamentals. Seriously, forget about the sci-fi movies for a second. The AI we're talking about is already here, working behind the scenes. It's the secret sauce that figures out exactly what TikTok video you want to see next. It's the magic behind those Snapchat filters, and it's even that little suggestion that pops up when you're texting. It's all over the place, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and see how it all works.
So what is artificial intelligence really? When you get down to it, it's actually a lot simpler than it sounds. So let's peel back all the complicated layers and get right to the core idea.
Okay, here's the official textbook definition for you. Artificial intelligence is basically when we build computer systems that can do things that normally take a human brain to figure out, stuff like spotting patterns or translating from one language to another. But that's not the whole story. This right here. This is the main event. If you remember only one thing today, make it this. At its heart, AI is a pattern-finding machine. That's its superpower. It looks at enormous amounts of information and gets really, really good at finding the patterns inside it. And this is maybe the most important difference to get. Our brains run on feelings, on real awareness, on truly understanding things. An AI model? Nope. It runs on statistics, patterns, and predictions. It isn't thinking or feeling the way we do. It's just making incredibly complex calculations based on the patterns it's seen before. Okay, so if it's just a pattern finder, how does it actually create stuff? How does it go from just seeing patterns to, say, writing a whole new sentence? Well, to get that, it helps to compare it to something you use all the time, a search engine. Think of it like this. Google Search is like a super fast librarian. You ask it a question, and it goes and finds existing books, or in this case, web pages, that have the answer. It finds stuff that's already out there. Generative AI, on the other hand, is more like a writer. It's learned from reading the entire library and now can use that knowledge to write a brand new paragraph that's never existed before. So how does that writer AI actually write? Honestly, it's just a very, very fast guessing game. You give it a starting point, a prompt, like artificial intelligence is, and based on all the patterns it's learned from reading billions of sentences, it predicts the most likely word to come next. Then it does it again and again and again, thousands of times a second until it's built a whole sentence. Now that you've got the basic idea, let's bring it back to your world, because you are using this technology way more than you probably realize. It's already part of your daily routine. I mean, just think about this week. Have you used predictive text or autocomplete, listened to a Spotify playlist that was made for you, watched a recommended video on YouTube? All of that is AI. Grammarly fixing your essays, Google Lens identifying something in a photo. Yep, all powered by the same pattern-finding tech we've been talking about. All right, time for a little test. Since AI is getting so good at mimicking human creativity, let's see if you can spot the difference. I'm going to show you two little bits of writing. Your job is to guess, was this made by a person or an AI? Ready? Okay, first up is this pretty poetic sentence. The old clock ticked with the patience of a stone, each second a tiny grain of sand falling into a forgotten sea. So, what do you think? Human or AI? Believe it or not, that was generated by an AI. Kind of wild, right? All right, how about this one? A classic joke. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Human or AI? Well, this is a very human joke, but an AI could have easily come up with it too, just because it's seen that pattern a million times in its training data. See how the lines are starting to get a little blurry? And that little game shows just how good AI has gotten at sounding human. But here's the thing, it's not perfect. It can mimic us, but it doesn't understand us. And that's why it's so important to have a critical eye, because sometimes that imperfection leads to some pretty big mistakes. And that brings us to something you absolutely need to know about. The fact that AI can be wrong. Not just a little wrong, but completely, totally wrong, even while sounding super confident. There's a special word for this, and it's called a hallucination. So, what is an AI hallucination? Well, it's when an AI produces information that sounds totally real, totally convincing, but it's actually false. And here's the key. The AI doesn't know it's lying. It's not trying to trick you. It just found a faulty pattern in its data and followed it. Here is a perfect, simple example. An AI might tell you, with all the confidence in the world, that the capital of Brazil is Buenos Aires. Which, of course, is wrong. The capital of Brazil is Brasilia. Buenos Aires is in Argentina. This is a huge reminder that you have to double-check any facts you get from an AI.
Okay, as we start to wrap this up, let's do a quick lightning round of the key terms we just learned to make sure they stick. And then I'm going to leave you with one final challenge to really put your new knowledge to the test.
First up, generative AI. Remember, this is the writer AI, the kind that creates brand new stuff, whether it's text, images, or something else, based on what it's learned. Next, dataset. This is the giant library of information that an AI learns from. And the quality of this data set is everything. I mean, if it learns from bad or biased info, it's going to give you bad or biased results. It's like garbage in, garbage out.
And finally, prediction. This is the engine that makes it all go. It's that core process of guessing what comes next, the next word in a sentence, the next pixel in an image. That's how it builds things.
And now it's your turn. Here is your challenge. Can you explain AI to a 9-year-old in just one sentence? Thinking about this will really lock in what you've learned today. And honestly, being able to explain complicated things simply is one of the most important skills you can have. Good luck.